Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I do apologize. I'm sitting near a road, so you will probably hear, there's a car right there. You'll probably hear cars moving by. I do apologize for that. I normally would film elsewhere, but right now I don't have the opportunity to do that. So I appreciate you being understanding. In this video, we're going to talk about how to keep your reptiles warm because winter is quickly approaching, and these are some of the ways that you can insulate their environment or make their house warmer so that their temperatures don't drop too much in the winter. I have a similar video called How to Keep Your Reptiles Cool in Summer, and I will include that up here for you to watch if you're interested. Now before we get started, I ask that you please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and away we go. So these are just some of the methods I've come up with for keeping the reptiles warm in the winter. If you have any that you use with success, please leave them down below if I don't mention them. Number one would be avoiding glass enclosures. I think glass enclosures let out heat faster than any other enclosure. PVC and wood hold them pretty well. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you know you're going to have trouble keeping the enclosure warmer in the winter, then it might be a good idea before you get the animal, or if you're doing an upgrade, to pick an enclosure that isn't made of glass, or at least only has glass on one side. Number two, you can insulate your windows. So I actually have styrofoam right next to me. I'll show you. This is a piece of styrofoam. I got it from Home Depot. You can buy styrofoam and use it to insulate windows or anywhere that like a cold draft can come in, or you can put it on the outside of the enclosure if it's glass, or if any enclosure, but you know, the glass ones you might need to, especially because they don't hold the heat. But the styrofoam will be able to trap heat in. So the reason I use the styrofoam is because my AC, my like vent on the floor, is right there. And so in the summer, when the cool air is blasting into the room to keep it nice and cool up here, I want to make sure that the enclosures individually right next to it don't get cold. And so I had some styrofoam on the outside of the enclosure. Now we don't have AC anymore, so this piece of insulation is kind of useless, but next year it'll be useful again. But any sort of insulation, if you have blankets, if you have pillows, if you have anything that's going to trap heat, especially if you have like a power outage, if you can take the styrofoam and like just put it all around the enclosure and wrap it in a blanket, you're going to be able to trap a decent amount of heat in there. Especially if you have like an enclosure that's in front of or near a window, the styrofoam is a great way to keep any sort of weather out away from the enclosure that would like quickly raise or lower the temperatures. Another way you can keep your reptiles warm in winter is by having a space heater in your room where you keep your reptiles. Now please follow all of the safety rules with space heaters, okay? Don't leave them on when you're not home. Like home fires happen that way. Just make sure nothing is sitting on top of them, nothing can catch fire, nothing's too warm. So follow all the rules that come with space heaters, please, before you use them for keeping your reptile room warm. But it's quite possible. Tons of people keep their reptile rooms warm by just adding a space heater, and that makes up for like the difference in temperature between, you know, like when it's decent outside in summer and you don't need it, and then compared to winter. Another option would be heating your home through like, you know, like the floor vents. Some people might not have access to this, and that's why I'm listing other methods, but if you do have access to this, I really recommend it. That's how I keep my reptiles warm in winter, is by keeping the house the same temperature all year round by using AC and heating. Something else I recommend is to add a supplemental heating source to your individual enclosure. That could come in the form of a deep heat projector or an under tank heater or a ceramic heat emitter, something that's not going to put off light and disrupt your reptile's natural day and night cycle, but that can put a bit of heat into the enclosure. That way it's not like really cold for them overnight. Like for example, my bearded dragons are downstairs, and fortunately because of the house heating, the temperatures are fine for them at night. But if they weren't, I would let them have their daytime as normal, and then I would use a deep heat projector or a ceramic heat emitter to put a bit of warmth into their enclosure at night. And if your house gets too cold, that is definitely an option for you. Just make sure that you're always following the heat requirements for your species. So if your species likes a good nighttime drop, keep that in mind before you panic and add heat to their environment. Lastly, move the enclosures to a different area of the house. So for example, the second floor of the home usually holds more heat because heat rises. So if you have your reptiles in a basement or on a main floor and it's too cold, you can move the enclosures upstairs for the winter, and it'll likely be warmer than keeping them downstairs. Or if you have a room that has like better insulation, make sure you keep them in there. So those are my tips on how to keep reptiles warm in winter. Let me know if you have any extra tips down below. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this informational and insightful. Please like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, all the good stuff. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!